Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. It is late on Friday night, um, September the 29th, and I'm here to talk to you about the little bit of stitching that I was able to get done this evening. So, I had a good Friday. I had a good day of activities and got to go out to eat lunch with my hubby. And then I cooked a big supper tonight, and our son came up to visit and told us that he did really well in his survey. He said he got tickled. He was in the sterile processing department being interviewed by the surveyor, and he could see his boss standing out in the hallway. I guess she was behind the surveyor. He was facing my son inside the room. And every time he answered a question, she was nodding, telling him, yeah, you got that right. It was funny. But he said the surveyor was much more interested in paperwork documentation, making sure that everybody followed proper documentation practices, than he was too much about processes. Although he did ask my son several questions about processes, but then what he wanted to see in my son's department was record keeping that he had when he said this is what we do and we keep a record of it and daily, and he wanted to see the log, and of course my son showed it to him, so he had it. Anyway, he did fine, and he said he worked really hard. He had everything ready, had the place all, you know, organized and cleaned, and not to belabor the point, but he's brand new in the department, and he just hired a new employee, and it was the employee's first week on the job, and the surveyor actually was asking the employee questions. And he answered them correctly because my son hired someone who had experience, and he knew that. And so he didn't mind having him work in there with the surveyor in there. So they both did great, actually. They did quite well. So he's happy. There were no shortcomings in his department, nothing that was going to be a recommendation in the report that had to do with his area. So he's really happy about that. So he was able to come up tonight and tell us all about it. He's exhausted because he worked late every night, getting ready. When you're talking with the surveyor and showing him around and doing stuff, you're not doing your other work. And when he doesn't do his other work, that they're not having instruments get ready for the next day. So, but he's got 2 full-time people now working for him, and he said they're really doing well, and things are rocking. So that's good. I'm happy for him. He's made some good changes. They're happy with his changes. The surgeons and the people who run the surgery center are happy. So I think he's doing well. I'm really proud of him. So thanks for letting me share that with you. But I wanted to update you because I had asked you all, to cross your fingers for him, pray for him, send him good wishes and good vibes. And thank you all for doing that because he really did come through it really well. So after talking with JT and after, of course, we talked through dinner and then we visited a little bit after dinner. We also watched a series together that Jeremy and I love, and that's the Great British Baking Championship. I don't know why we love it. We just do. And tonight was the season premiere for this season. And so JT was sweet enough to stay in there with me and watch it with me. And before he went in and crashed. And he told me not to wake him in the morning unless I got hungry for lunch. If it was getting too late for us to go to lunch. So I think he intends to sleep in tomorrow. So knowing that, I knew I could stay up a little bit later tonight. I don't have to jump right up in the morning. He's going to sleep in. My husband's going to take a long run. So Coco and I will sleep in tomorrow. So I stayed up and stitched. I came back up here and I looked at my prompts I needed to work on. And the first prompt that I needed to work on was to stitch on my biggest whip. So here's my pandemic. You haven't seen it in just a little while. And I'm trying to finish this little page over here. So today I put in 257 stitches down this column. I started right below that bird and I just went down that column. It's a short amount. I just ran the thread out. That's why I got 257 instead of just 200. But it's a small prompt. It's just 200 stitches, so I just went ahead and stitched till I ran out of that thread and could put my threads away. So that's just a little bit more of that side going down here till I get my page break. And so just making slow progress on it. There's no deadline on it, but I did get to touch it today. And I'm excited that I got to touch this one today because it will not be going with me on vacation. I had mentioned that I would share with you what I'm going to be taking with me, and I'm ready to do that now. I think I've got it pretty solid. I did mention my methodology before, that I wanted to make sure I had my whip go pulls with me, and I wanted to look at acrostics and try to put as many of those letters that I could in the same whips. In other words, how few whips can I take with me and still be able to work on whip go and my acrostics. So I've done that. There are 2 whips that are in my acrostics that are not going with me on vacation. One of them is Royal Games 1, and the second one is Miss Christmas Eve. They're not going with me because they're on large roller frames, and they have a lot of things in their project bags. Lots of beads, lots of Krynic. It would be too easy to lose some of that trying to transport it all over creation. So I don't want to do that. I will be home a few days in October, so I am planning on working on those acrostics before I leave town. So as soon as it's the 1st, I will start, on Sunday. I will work on the first one of those, either Miss Christmas Eve or Royal Games if I can, to hit the prompts. And that way they're done and I don't have to worry about taking them with me. And then anything else that gets called on for my bingo game that I'm playing with my friends in North Alabama, or if it's a whip go piece that I want to work on, or if I just want to work on my acrostics, whatever I decide to do for the day, I'll have it with me. So I am taking, I think it's 9 projects. So I'm going to take with me my Snow and Mountains. That is the beautiful winter piece that looks like the window frame, and there's a scene outside. It is a Madame Lafitte. It is part of Whip Go, and it's part of my 24 Hours Cross Stitch acrostic. I'm taking my Cranberry Christmas, which you've seen very recently. I'm taking 13th Colony, Part 2 from By the Bay. I have new starts for Whip Go. I have Chubby Bird by Jeanette Douglas, and I also have Noel in Blue. Those are Whip Go calls for new starts, so I'm going to take them with me. I have to put in 5 hours to hit the Whip Go. So, on my bingo game that I'm playing with my friends in Alabama, and this is a closed group, it's just a group of people that were at the retreat. Most of them were my table mates. Anyway, when it's called, I have to do 100 stitches a day, and so I have put my new starts from Whip Go on that bingo board, and I've put them on there enough times to get my 5 hours, to get my, if I do an hour at a time or 100 stitches, I will get enough by the end of that month to hit those Whip Go goals. So that'll be fun. I am taking with me a sampler for all seasons, Halloween Quaker, Autumn in the Country, and my new start I did just recently that you've seen that's the gift for my sister Stephanie. I'm taking that with me. So I haven't decided if I'm going to take anything else, like another whip to work on or another new start. I don't know. I'm still trying to get a couple of finishes before the end of the year. I would really like to finish Cranberry Christmas in October. And I think I would like to finish my sister's gift in October. And I don't know if I'll be able to, but I would love to finish Autumn in the Country in October. And if not, definitely by November. So those are the ones I'm hopefully pushing to a finish this year for this month, maybe a little bit into November. So there you have it. All those plans are made. Now I have started pulling these whips out, checking to make sure I have supplies and everything I need in them, so that I can pack them to take. We leave, if everything goes well at the heart doctor, we can leave in just a few days. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's it for the day. I think that's plenty of stitching today. With that prompt that I met, there's only one left to meet on that challenge, and it is Cranberry Christmas. I have to stitch on a whip that's closest to a finish, and I think that's my one that's closest to a finish. But since this goes through October 6th, and I may have it called on my bingo board by then, I'm going to wait and see if it gets called on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, or 6th. If it's called any of those 6 days, I'll stitch it, and so it can hit this prompt and the bingo prompt. If it's not called by the 6th, I will stitch it on the 6th, just so I can hit this prompt. It'll have more than the number of stitches I need. The maximum I need is 200, and there's more than that left in it. So I'll still have it for the bingo game. Be fun. All right, I think that's all I have to share. I was thinking today I'm going to be gone a while, and I won't have my computer to do my video on. So I may try to capture the days right before I go, like starting today forward. I may try to edit it and have it scheduled to come up while we're gone, so it's not quite so long a gap before I'm back. So hopefully that'll work. Anyway, I hope you've had a great start to your weekend, and I know I have. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. My son and I are going to go have lunch together. We had 2 possibilities we were talking about today, and I told him to wait till tomorrow, see what mood he's in, and just pick one, or something else. But I think he liked both possibilities, so I'll let you know what we do. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon, hopefully tomorrow, but if not, at least by Sunday or Monday to show you what I've been stitching. Happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everyone. How are you? Welcome. It is Saturday night, September 30th. I am here to give you my wrap-up for my month of September, and I guess the kickoff for October 1. So I think that's great. Well, I got up this morning. My son was sleeping in late. My husband left for an early run, so Coco and I napped a little this morning. And then when I got showered and dressed and ready to go for the day, I knew I was going to be waiting a couple of hours or more before my son was up and ready to go. We were going for an early lunch at about 11. And I came up here to the craft room and I couldn't decide what to stitch on. I had a prompt I could stitch for, but it's on my closest to a finish, which I have stitched on several times lately, and I think I'm a little burnt out on it, and I didn't want to do it. And then I looked around and I thought, well, let me see now. There was a new challenge that went up on Friday. Let's go read that and see if there's a prompt you want to stitch for that. And I read it and I liked it, and I even wrote down what I was going to stitch for each of them. I didn't want to do them. I don't know if you ever get into one of those moods where nothing you have you want to stitch on. Nothing. I would have just turned around and gone to do something different today if I hadn't thought about, well, are you in the mood to stitch at all? Are you tired? Have you burned yourself out for a day or two? What are you doing? And I realized what I really wanted to do is I wanted to stitch on something new and different that I hadn't stitched on before. And since I have some gifts to stitch to give away next year, I looked at them to decide which ones do I need to stitch that are going to be given away early in the year. And I picked one in particular that will happen earlier in the year. So, Stephanie, you need to look away. So this was a kit. It is a Fervico kit, and it's printed in several languages. English is one of them, but I'm not sure where this came from. It may be a Russian kit. I've had it for a while. I think I actually wound up buying this from My Hobby or something like that, the online store. Anyway, I wanted to start on it, and this is the kit, and it actually contains all of this in the kit. The gray fabric and what you finish it in. So I picked the one I wanted to do first, and I started it this morning, and I finished it this evening. Now I don't have it permanently finished in here, but I just wanted to put it in here to let you see. It's actually a little tight here, but I don't think it's going to be in there permanently. I think it's going to be gifted in this format, and then I won't be surprised if it gets moved out and fully finished in a different way when it's received. But my sister Stephanie loves this and loves this color. So I thought, how sweet is that? I didn't even have to personalize that it was the right color. So this is ready to go here once I do a little bit of taping to secure it. But I think it's precious. Now it took 6 hours to do this. It's a lot more stitching in there than you think. But now I can put this away and fully finish it when it gets closer to time. And if I need another cute piece that I want to work on, I have this, to do later. Now, I will tell you, I've heard, I think Lori asked me about this the last time she started a kit, but it came with the floss on this board, and it was numbered. I think it was 1 through 13 or something like that. And these threads were just laid over one end was put through and it was just hanging there. There was nothing to secure it in place. There was no loop, nothing. It was just literally one end was put through and it was hanging down. So if you weren't careful, that'd fall right out when you moved it around. Now it was folded up like this and the threads were wrapped around, so it was secure for traveling. But it wasn't gonna do me to leave it like that. I couldn't do it that way. And I even discovered as I was prepping these threads today that when I pulled one color out to put it on my floss drop, it sometimes pulled the color next to it out at the same time, because in many cases it was only a couple of strands of thread. So these floss drops were gifted to me. Aren't they beautiful? Those little roses. And these floss drops were gifted to me. And it took both sets of the floss drops. So I thought that was pretty awesome. I started with this group and I used all of them. And then when I got to the end of those, I went to this group. So all the higher numbers are in this color. This is from my friend Stephanie, who has Stitching It on YouTube. And she had gifted me those. It's got her dog on it and other things, some of her stitching. But I originally started today thinking, I will just kit this up. I will just prep it. That's how I thought I would get started today. And so that's what I did. I pulled it out. I saw the threads, you know, were not secure. And so then I pulled these out and I made the floss drops for them. And I decided, well, I can put this away now. It's ready to go. And then I looked at it and I just thought it was so precious. I wanted to stitch it. And so I got busy stitching it today and finished it today. So I did work on it off and on all day long. It took 6 hours, as I said, to complete. But it's so precious and I loved it so much. So I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I got it done. I'm gonna put it away now, back in my project bag for the next time that I want to work on one. So this will be great. And that means I've got one of my gifts for 2024 stitched. It's a small gift. It's not a big thing. It's not like for a birthday or Christmas. It's not a big thing. But it will be gifted for a particular holiday. And I'm looking forward to that. So that'll be good. My son and I went out and hit up one of our favorite Mexican restaurants in town today and shared a light lunch, and then both of us brought half of our food home. We ordered off the lunch menu and it was still way too much food, and so we brought it home, and my son and I divvied it all up tonight and made him to-go boxes to take with him next week. I don't think he'll have to buy lunch at all next week. And then tonight, he and I cooked dinner together. So I fixed, you know, some fish, salmon, and cod, fish steaks, and then I had a piece of chicken. So I had 3 different, you know, things going. But my son made some sushi rice. He loves the flavor of sushi rice. And he made us some sushi rice to lay as a bed for our protein to lay on. And then I had turnip greens and I had carrots. And so that worked out nicely. So we had a nice balanced meal, you know, for dinner. And then my husband took Coco out to play and a long walk while my son and I cleaned up and got the kitchen back in order. And now he's playing his video games, resting, relaxing. And I came back up here to finish up my cross stitch, and I just finished it. So I had to film it for you. So tomorrow is going to be a restful day. JT said he's going to hang out here until at least after lunch, which will be great. And then he'll take his food and he'll head home, which will be fun. am excited. I got my number in my Alabama bingo game all ready for tomorrow. So I know that I'll be stitching snow and mountains in the morning for at least 100 stitches. So I'll get that done sometime hopefully before I go to church, or maybe right after lunch, but it'll be the first thing I work on tomorrow, and we'll get October started off in good style. But I am tickled to death that I wound up September with one more finish. I hadn't planned on that, guys. That was a big shock. But it was good. I've heard people say before, if you lose your stitchy bug, sometimes it helps to go through your stash and do a new start. And that is exactly what I did today. And it worked. It worked beautifully. And now that this is called for tomorrow, I'm happy to stitch on it. I just think I was maybe needing a little direction or inspiration. So that works out well. Well, I'll let you get back to what you were doing. I'm going to call it an evening. I'm going to get ready for tomorrow, get my stitching set up for tomorrow, and then I'm going to call it a night. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello, good evening. It is fairly late in the evening, probably around, let's look, 8 o'clock. And I am here on the 1st of October again to show you my stitching. So today I worked on a prompt for my daily 30 group. I needed to get 300 stitches in it. It happened to be that I chose that prompt because it was called in my bingo group. And so I went ahead and pulled it and looked, and sure enough, I had put it on my daily 30 group. So this is Madame Lafitte's Neige at Montagne, which is snow and mountains. And I had completed this first row, and now I was working back down here. I had the margin over here done, the border done. So I came in today and I filled in this part of the pane, and I started with the seam across there. I actually wound up stitching 330 stitches on it today, and most of that, or some of that time, I was Zooming with the Garon Stitchery Zoom that they do on Sunday afternoons. So this is what I got done, and this is the bottom of the page. So when I finish this square and do just a little bit more over here, I'll have a page finish. Isn't that great? So I'm looking forward to working on that more as I travel. It's one of the pieces I'm taking with me. So I just wanted to share that with you and tell you something fun. I talked my friend Donna into doing AB Singo this year. She started doing some acrostics and prompts and things because she wanted to really start making some progress on a lot of her whips. And today I saw where Carolyn posted that she had picked the winners for AB Singo, and my friend Donna won for the blackout. I'm so excited that that happened for her. It was her first time doing it. So how fun is that to win your first time? We were on the Zoom call actually when one of the ladies told me that it had just been posted, and I ran and grabbed my phone up and I looked and I sent Donna a message and said, "You need to go see this. This is great." So that was fun. I was happy to be able to call it to her attention. She was traveling. I knew she was driving down the interstate, wasn't looking at social media, so I wanted her to know as soon as she could. I thought that was great fun. Well, Coco sends her love. She's up here running around. She and my husband just got back from their last adventure of the day. I think they went over to the church right down the street that has the artificial turf that she likes so much. So I'm sure she had a good time. And I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to go downstairs and watch an episode of Gone with the Winds, which is a YouTube show my husband and I like to watch of a young couple who sail around the world. And they are right now about to pick up their new boat. And so they're talking all about the features of their new boat and all the decisions they're having to make and all that. So it's been interesting. We've learned a lot. We're not interested in sailing around the world by ourselves. It's just fun watching this young couple explore the world and learn a little bit about the culture and, you know, all about that from them. It's great fun. So we enjoy watching it together. We could do that tonight. And then I don't know if I'll get to stitch anymore this evening or not, but I hope you do. I hope you're stitching. I hope you're enjoying whatever it is you're working on. And my next project will be whatever's called on my bingo. And hopefully it'll meet another prompt somewhere else, because I tried to do it that way. I tried to set it up that way. So you know me. I set up my prompts so that I can hit more than one with each thing I work on. And that's how I get to do so many. I get to participate in so many. Well, have a good evening. Hope to see you in the morning. Happy stitching. Okay, I received the topper for my bell pull, and I've got it put up this morning. So it's in the hallway as you come in the front door, turn to the left, and you see my little Halloween tree there, which I've already shared with you before. And there's my autumn bell pull. I love the little topper. Get a little closer so you can see the leaves, the metallic leaves there. And then I made a little tiny tab at the top of the bell pull so that I could put it on the little dowel. That's what I was waiting on to see how I was going to have to finish it off. But this is how it looks. It's quite long. I think the colors are vibrant and beautiful. And get a little closer so you can see each letter as you go down. There's those brighter leaves, and then the more brown, darker leaves, and then at the very bottom, the leaves that look almost paled out and crispy. I thought that was fun to do it that way. And the other piece you haven't seen, because I didn't have it up before, was my Bewitched. Let's see if I can get the glare out of it. There we go. She's hanging over here at the end of the hall. So I have her out as well. Hi everyone, welcome back. It is Monday, October the 2nd, and the North Alabama bingo game had a call today for number 3. And on my board, that number 3 was Snow and Mountains again. I wonder how many times it's on here. Let me check. One more time. So I'm kind of hoping it's not tomorrow. But anyway, we'll see. So today I pulled back out my Madame Lafie Snow and Mountains. And you know that I am working in the little window in here. And today I was able to complete another color of green. So you'll see more trees. I did 176 stitches and did color completion in this whole section here for that color, the majority of which is in here. But I got that done, and I even looked on the page break, which I've mentioned is right on the other side of here. You can actually see a few stitches of color that I went ahead and carried it on out. So there you have it. Snow and Mountains, another day of stitching on that for the bingo at 176 stitches. So, what else? Well, today I continued getting ready to pack for my trip. I have pulled out my shoes that I want to take with me, and I have picked my earrings and things to go with the clothes I'm going to take with me. And I have started looking at essentials like toothpaste and hairspray and little things like that that we can take in smaller sizes. I usually keep a travel size handy, and I think we've pretty much used most of those up. So I'll be running over to the store to get that this week. And the last thing I'll pack will be my makeup and hair products and things, because I'll use them the morning of. So I'll finalize those the night before we leave or the morning that we leave. So other than that, I had lunch with my husband. I got my pedicure and manicure today so that my little summer sandals will look nice. So got all that done. So now I think I'm going to look ahead at one of the acrostics. I've used 2, maybe 3 of my cross stitch projects for my acrostics that I'm not taking with me on my trip. So I will probably pull one of those out, and I will go ahead and put in the required number of stitches. So if it's in the daily 30 group, which one of them is, I have to do 300 stitches. Actually, there's 2 of them that are in the daily 30 group. So I have to do at least 300 stitches on them to meet that prompt. And of course, that'll meet the other 2 acrostics easily for doing that. But they're not going to be called on my bingo this month because I didn't put them on there because I'm not taking them with me. So I'd like to knock one of those out between today and tomorrow. And then that leaves me a couple of more days, hopefully, to knock out another one of those 2. That was my goal, was to try to get those 2 prompts met before we leave town. I'm still hoping to leave town, so I'm gonna plan that way, and then as soon as I get an answer this Thursday, I'll share it with you. I'll let you know. So I'm gonna pack this away and then pull out my next project and get started. In the meantime, happy stitching. Hello everyone, welcome back. I was able to pull one of my projects out today that I'm not going to be able to take with me and meet a prompt. And in fact, I met 3. But you guys know I like to plan to do that. But in this case, I originally was only going to meet 2. And I hadn't intended to use this for my daily 30 group. But once I realized I had stitched over 300 stitches, and that's the minimum that I need for the daily 30 group, I looked again and decided I could use it. And this is how I did it. In the daily 30 group, I think I've mentioned before, you have to stitch on something that's either starts with the first letter in the title, the designer's name, or an object that is in the piece that is named that. And so that's what I chose to do. I don't do that very often with these because I don't want there to be any chance that I don't meet the criteria. But I think this one's pretty clear. So I decided today, since it's spooky time is the acrostic in the daily 30 group, and so for spooky time, starting with an S, I chose to do S for Queen of Spades, because you know I'm working on the Queen of Spades. And yes, I'm holding the pattern upside down because that's how you can see her the best. Anyway, I wound up originally thinking I had only stitched 328 stitches, and I posted it in all my groups for that. And then when I got ready to put it away, I realized, oh, wait a minute, there's a whole row or column of stitches I didn't mark out. Did I not count them? And I hadn't counted them. So I actually stitched 341 stitches, but it doesn't matter. It just had to be a minimum of 300. So here's where that got me. The last time I spoke with you, I mentioned that the next time I could finish her cape, and now that is complete. And I've come over here and I've gotten most of her black glove done. This is going to be a highlight, like a different shade in there until we get to her fingers. So that means probably the next time you see this, I will have to roll it up so that I can get to her neck and face. Isn't that exciting? But yes, got that met. So it was the S for Queen of Spades in the Daily 30 group. I also used it for R in the Magazine Monthly Challenge for self-care. It was the R in care, and that's because the name of the pattern is Royal Games 1. And I used it in the 24 hours of cross stitch as well for the letter D. Now in both the Magazine Monthly Challenge group and the 24 hours of cross stitch group, we get to be very creative. It's not restrictive. They're not giving out prizes, so that makes a bit of a difference. We can be as creative as we want to be. So for 24 hours of cross stitch, the letter D for me was for Pixie Dust, which is the name of the fabric that she is stitched on. So that's how I met the D for the 24 hours of cross stitch. So one project, stitched on it one time, 3 prompts. That's successful. Well, it's time for dinner. I'm gonna go have some dinner downstairs with my hubby, and then probably we'll work toward getting some of my packing done this evening. I'm still trying not to do, sorry, I'm winding up my black thread back on my bobbin. I'm still trying not to do too much until I know for sure that we're going to be able to travel. But I'm enjoying getting some of this stitching done. I have a Zoom call tonight, so after dinner, I hope to be able to pick another piece to stitch on. And in this case, I don't know, but I think I ought to pick one that I can't take with me again. But it might be harder to do while I'm talking and visiting, so I'll just have to see. So I will let you know. And I might actually come back tonight and share it with you if I make enough progress. So in the meantime, happy stitching. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. It is October 3rd, and that is Tuesday. Today's a big day for me. I have to go have my stress test and my echocardiogram today. And I'm a little nervous, but I'm trying not to be. Anyway, I didn't get a chance to film last night the last thing that I stitched yesterday because it was fairly late when I finished stitching. I was on a Zoom call with friends and stitched till about 10:30. And I knew I had to get up really early this morning, so I went ahead and went to bed. So I pulled out Small Gift yesterday for my last stitch, and it's for a prompt, of course. I had it in my Daily 30 group, so I had to do 300 stitches in it. And I decided then I would go ahead and see if I could use it in some other acrostics, and as it turned out, I could. I didn't have it slated for all of them, but I was able to make it fit for some of them. And I decided to do that to help me get a little further ahead before I hopefully get to go on my trip. So here's what I did. I wanted to walk you through it. I came around and I finished all the white in the dress up to here. There's some more light blue that has to be stitched in here for the shading, and then I can fill in the rest of the little bit of white on the end of her dress. I came over here and took the deer's leg on up and then started the body, and I got up to here on the body. And when I finished all of that, I had 391 stitches. I had way more stitches than I needed, but I was just stitching while I was zooming. So I wasn't counting the stitches till I got through. So I had more than I needed, which was okay. Well, today, my bingo call with my Alabama group is for a new start, Noel in Blue. And that new start is also on my Whip Go board. And I needed to show you my Whip Go board because I needed to update you on something that I forgot to mention. And that is that when I stitched on my snow and mountains for those 2 days, I wound up getting enough stitches to meet my Whip Go goal. So I went ahead and colored Snow and Mountains in. And the other call for this month is in blue, Noel in Blue. And when I do the Noel in Blue, I'll have another bingo. So that's exciting. I already have 3. 1, 2, 3. And when I do this one, I'll have number 4, which will be great on this board. Anyway, this is my Christmas Halloween board. And then my other board, I have Chubby Bird, which will be a new start. I'm taking it with me. And 13th Colony, which is a whip, and I'm taking it with me. So that'll be great. But I was really tickled that I got the Snow and Mountains done so far. That's a Whip Go goal met, which will be great. And I'll probably get even more work on it. It's on my bingo board one more time. So I'll have more than I need for that, which will be great. So today, I love it because the way that the call came out, I get to go ahead and make my new start that is a Whip Go goal, and I'll get the first probably of 5 hours in it today. I'm hoping. I'm going to do it this morning before I leave because I have a little bit of time. My appointment is not until 11:45, and it's just after 8 right now. But I had to get up early this morning because I had to take Coco over to the groomers. She has to be there right at 8 o'clock or right after 8 o'clock. So got up early to do that. And I figured I'll just get ready and be ready for the day. That way I get some stitching in. I have no idea how long this is going to take really, but they've told me to plan on 3 to 4 hours. So, you know, it could be early, late afternoon, early evening before I'm back home and able to stitch again. So this will give me a little time, which will be great. That's all I have to share at this moment. I'm hoping that I'll have a whole lot of really more fun stuff to share later in the week if I find out everything's going okay. So thanks for your prayers and your thoughts, and I'll update you as soon as I can. Happy stitching, everybody.